If you love junk journaling, pockets, and Tim Holtz, then you're going to want to stay tuned for this project. I'm Ingrid Carlsen, and I am so very happy that you are here with me today. If you're not already subscribed, I'd love for you to do so, as well as give this video a like. If you didn't catch my last Dollar Tree haul, shop with me, and project, then I'm going to have it linked down below in the description, and you definitely should check it out. I actually made these papers using this little concoction, and it's all in the video. So one of my viewers had asked if I would do a project using the papers, and I decided to do this like accordion kind of envelope tuck that we're going to be able to put into any journal. I'm going to show you the technique for it, but then you can make it into any size that you want. That's the wonderful thing about this project. So I'm starting off with 4 of these pages, and they came from this sales order booklet from Dollar Tree, and then I've sprayed them front and back, and now this is going to be the base. For the cover, I'm using this paper from my Patreon, and I'm also going to be using these Tim Holtz snapshots. I think that they all work really well together, the colors and kind of the aesthetic. So we're going to start off by embellishing these papers just a little more, just because I think it would be fun to add some stamping to them, maybe some numbers. So I'm going to go grab some stamps, and then we can get started. I'm going to grab these stamps by Amy Tangerine, as well as these from Tim Holtz. And I'm going to be using Black Soot Distress Oxide ink. Just put this down to protect my surface. And my thought was that we could stamp some numbers along the edge. I love anything to do with numbers. And then maybe like on the top edge, we can do, oh, actually I had another idea. Maybe it'll be on the side. So, okay. So I'm going to fold these all in half first, so that I know what's going to show. You're not going to be able to really see that much inside of them. You're going to be able to kind of catch a little glimpse. So I know that I don't want to add the stamps everywhere. I apologize for that annoying noise. I think I need to get up at the crack of dawn and record so that nobody is out mowing their lawns. Okay. So, and then I'll just right next to it. And I'm okay if they're not evenly spaced out, or if they are not all the same depth. I just like the idea of like an indexing tab. So Now we have our 4 papers. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my numbers and I'm just going to start adding. I'm going to pull them all out so that I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's actually just go with 0, 1, 2, 3. And this will be, 1 will be 0, 1 will be 1, 2, and 3. That way, okay, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just gonna, and I'm just going across the top edge with my numbers. Do you wipe off your stamps? I sometimes do, I sometimes don't. That was a lot of ink still on there, so maybe I should. And then lastly, our number 4. Now I'm going to grab, since I have my stamps out, I'm going to grab some cardstock, and I'm just going to use white cardstock. I'm going to use this since it was a off print. And I might. I'll keep that piece to use. And I'm going to cut some strips to kind of bind these edges. So you can do this with all different sorts of things. You can use washi tape, you can use glue, you can use score tape or double-sided tape. I'm going to just measure over. That's probably good there. Let's see. Do I think I'm going to do 1/2 inch on each side. So meaning I want to cut out strips in 1 inch increments. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I need 4 total. And I'm just going to use my scissors, no, my ruler to rip them. So I'm just marking on the top and the bottom. I'm using those lines to line up my ruler, and then I will tail. And it would probably have been easier, and maybe I'll do that with these. It'll probably be easier to stamp if it's all together instead of separate. Actually, we'll go ahead and now I'm going to cut them down. I'm just going to cut them a little bit smaller than the paper. That way the paper has like a little bit of this edge that's still exposed. So I'm going to measure 1 and then cut them all the same. And for me, it's going to be 3 3/4 about. Let's go ahead and just make it even 3 3/4. And I might be able to get 2 out of here, so that's perfect. Actually, it was half. And I'm okay if they're not all exactly even. If you don't want your edges to be jagged, then you can cut them. And now I'm going to take my Tim Holtz. Let's move these out of the way. I'm going to take my Tim Holtz stamps, and I'm going to use, I think I like this one, the identification check. Actually, I kind of like the shipment collect. Maybe I'll use both. So if this is important to you, you're going to want to line them up. I'm okay with them being fairly lined up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp here, and then here it'll be like a partial stamp. You know what we'll do? Kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So if you wanted to, you could leave these intact without cutting them in half. This also gives us a nice look because it's not so uniform. That's something that I struggle with sometimes, with trying to get things that are too uniform. And this kind of makes you not do that. And I'm not sure if this has, I know somewhere I have a stamp that is like lines, so let me go see if I can find that. So I have these, and I was thinking about this one, but now I'm thinking that maybe this would look cool inside. And I'm gonna do this in a different color just to give it some more. That one's very sticky. I have this brush corduroy sitting next to me, so I'm just gonna use that. And I'm gonna do the same thing, except I'm not gonna really care if these are the ones that were together. Also, because it's actually, I think, hold on, let me move this to the top. I couldn't see that before. There we go. And I don't care if it's not like that strong, so like this is fine. I'm gonna try to get it a little less. Okay. Let me put this back before I lose it, like I've done in the past, and it sticks to something else. Man, today not only do we have mowers, but we have honking horns. Okay. So these are going to go on my edges here. And because I have that stamp there, I am going to fold it where I'll be able to have that on one of the sides. So maybe on one side I will do, actually I think I'm not gonna think about it too much, and I'm going to, oh, and I didn't do enough. I need 8 of these. So I'll do those off camera, and I'll be back with all of them completely done. Okay, now that I have all of my correct amount of these, so I was saying you're going to want to fold it on whatever you want to see, and I'm thinking that I'm going to do 1 and 1. So on this side, the shipment collect, and then on this side, the identification check. But you feel free to do it however you want. If you want them to match and you want it, you know, to be like that, it'll just be going opposite directions. So I'm going to go ahead and fold all these, and then I'm going to glue them down on the edge. So these are going to be kind of little hinges. And so my paper will still be able to open up, but it will have these on the end, and then you'll be able to see these on the side, which I think is fun. Now I'm going to measure out my cover, and I have to decide if I want the cover to be a little bit, if I want it to be flush, which I think I do want it to be flush. So I think I'm just going to take one of these. And I'm just going to measure it down. Now on this paper, I'm going to actually cut it in half. So I'm just going to fold it. And then I'm going to just rip it in half or tear it. And I'm going to have two pieces. So now I can decide if I want, you know, what sides I want. And I think that I want it like this. This is going to be my back and this will be my front. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to attach this. So if this is my front, this is my back. I'm going to attach it. I'm going to make sure that it fits first. And then I'm going to add some fabric on the bottom edge and then attach it using the fabric. I love this. This is from a chindi rug, and I will be doing a video on chindi rugs soon. I just have not gotten to it. So I'm going to cut this to be a little bit larger than the width, because when I sew it could change the dimensions a little bit. And I think that I'm going to let it kind of like lay instead of like flattening it out, so it'll look like this. So we're going to decorate the cover first. Let me think, hold on. Okay, I have two options. We can decorate the cover first and then add this to the bottom. If I'm going to do that, then I would make sure to only add a little bit on the bottom, because I don't want to cover up my design. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it down first, and then I'm going to decorate on top of it. And this is pretty wrinkled, so you may want to do a fabric that is a little less wrinkled. Oh no, it tore. I don't know if that, I think it changed my width. Oh no, I think we're good. I like this side's a little darker. And the back of my the back cover can get more fabric on it. So I like this jagged edge though. So I have my front cover here, and then I have the piece that I want, or the side that I want to be on the front, and I just want it to be kind of just a little on the bottom. So I'm just going to take this, and the first piece doesn't matter as much. You just want to know how much you want to be showing. And I'm just going to straight stitch across. And just for aesthetics, I'm going to do another straight stitch at the bottom. I'm going to try to feel around to where the edge is. It's here somewhere. And now I'm not worried that my wrinkles are gone or that the lines line up. Accidentally kind of, and that's okay. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick my papers here, and I'm going to add my fabric. Let's see. So I think somewhere here is good. So I want probably about that much on the bottom, whatever that much is. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the bottom piece this time. Okay, putting the presser foot down first allows me to hold the fabric in place, because it is, since it's really like ruffly and it's not flat, that will be very helpful. And I like having tails, so I'm gonna leave them. And we'll go ahead and do another stitch, but this one I'm not gonna do as far up. I'm just gonna do it like right here. Okay, here is our finished, or the covers that are sewn together. And before I add the pieces to the inside, we're going to go ahead and decorate. So I think that's my back and I think that's my front, but I can switch it. I actually think I ended up putting more fabric on, so I think this is going to be my front instead. Now let me grab my photos. And I know that I want it to be horizontal. Oh, these girls are fabulous. These girls are really good. Okay, so because my photo is going to be kind of coming in here. I'm going to lose if there's any writing, which I love the writing on all of these. This one doesn't have any, so this is a good contender. This one does, but I could cut it, but I think that one's gone. I like this one. And I kind of like the house. Which I can cut that off. All right, I'm gonna cut this down. And I think I'm going to cut down, cut out the text. And I like this one because it takes up a lot of real estate on the photo. I am going to layer it, of course. I have some scraps here that I had pulled out. Oh, and let's see. This is just a library card that I have. And I know I don't want this to go all the way to the bottom because I don't. I'm going to cut a little bit because I want those numbers to show. So I know for sure I want that like on the top edge. I also think some book page here would be fun, but I don't want to cover up the numbers. What if I folded it over? I like that. I have a little bit of black paper here, and I was thinking maybe here, tiny bit. I'm going to pull everything down over just a little. I think that I for sure want this. So I'm going to line this up. I'll wait on that. And I'm just going to add a staple. Maybe. That way it won't move around. I can remove the staple if I don't want it later, but I'm going to add that. And then because this side is like weighted down, I need to add something over here. It doesn't have to be a lot, it just needs to be something. So I have this book page just sitting here. I don't know if the color will go. really helps out to have the staple here, because now I can move this around and manipulate it where I want it without everything moving. You could also use a, you could also use a paper clip. I also have this little bit of dictionary page laying around. I'm just using whatever's on my desk. Oops. Actually, kind of like that. And then where's my, take a little bit of this dark piece off. Rip it and rip it. I like that. And I do feel like it's missing something, so I'm going to move this, and I know what it is. My photo is too, it's too stark, it's too perfect, so I want to just distress it a little bit. The bottom doesn't matter because we won't be able to see that. A lot of times I like kind of breaking the corners like that, because that's usually what happens with old things. If they catch on something and the corner rips off. I also am going to distress this just a little. Just a little, and then rips the whole thing. Look at how much interest that gave it already. It completely made it look old. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. So what I'm going to do is kind of put glue in the middle, not on the edges. That way I can still stick papers in between. I'm also going to glue these down a little bit, and I'll do the top later. I'm adding glue, but I'm not going all the way to the edges because I like this to be kind of free. Okay. And now I can add glue to this piece and then kind of just wedge it inside. And then this little guy. Another reason I love keeping scraps, because you can just use every little last bit, no matter how small. It can make a big impact on a project. Okay. And now I think lastly, we're going to add this. I think that's really cool. Okay. So now for adding our little accordion book. Okay, I'm going to tell you the premise of the accordion fold and how this is going to get attached so that you can still like see through the, get the little pockets. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to take a ruler and hang on, let me shove some of the stuff over to the side real quick. And we're going to mark out where we want our glue. So I'm just going to, I'm going to pick between 1.5. So I'm marking it here. You don't have to mark it. And that's about, yeah, 1 inch. So from 1 inch over, you're going to do 1/2 of an inch, if that makes sense, right? So here you have 1 inch over, and then you mark it at 1 and 1.5, and then here I did it backwards, so I marked it here and then here, and that's where you're going to be laying your glue. So we're going to do the first one, and I'm just going to lay my glue down. Oh no, and I almost did it backwards. So actually, this is my back piece. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to do 1.5, and I should learn what the measurement here is. Hold on. So it was at the 1 inch here and then here. So if I'm on this side, I'm at 1.5. Oh, that's an off number, so never mind. We'll just do it this way. And I'm just going up to that one line up here. This one's always easy. It's this side that's harder. So we're at the 1 inch and then 1/2 inch. That one lined up better because of that line. And once you get the hang of it, this goes pretty quickly. And we're going to do the same thing here. You can see that when I sewed it, it kind of is going, it's wanting to pull to the left. And so I'm just going to manually fix that because that bottom doesn't matter. So I'm going to add my glue here. So we've got 1 to 1.5. We've got our 1. Okay, that's good enough. And now this is where I'm going to line up my papers to this. And look at there. That's so fun. I'm gonna let that sit for just a minute. Let me cover up my glue. And I kind of feel like it's missing something over here on my cover while that's drying. I do still have these little circles. I like that one. Let's see. This might be, I like the black and white aspect of that. I'm just tilting it forward a little bit so that I can see it, because I'm seeing it at an angle. I think I like that one so far. I think some of these are too pink, too florally. I do like that one. It does have a little bit of floral, but it adds kind of like I kind of think this adds like green grass to the house, and then that's the florals. I like that. So I think it's between, oh, I kind of like that one too. I think this one's maybe out. Yeah, take that one out. I think there's too much contrast with the black and white. Kind of think that's going to be the winner. And then I also have my little pieces. These are some scrap buster pieces that I made, and if you haven't watched that video, I'll put it down below. And I think that the round and the round kind of goes. Let's go ahead and glue this in place, and then we'll, and I think I'm going to cut a little bit off of the edge of the bottom because I think it's kind of poking up, and that's what was kind of giving me, oops, I did it backwards. Oh no, I cut the wrong part. Okay, let's, there you go. None the wiser. Oh. Glue. That I am going to clip in place for a minute because it is using that's pretty good. And then I think we're going to go on that corner and add one of these. That's why scrap busters are so great, because you can just grab a piece that's already pretty much done and then just add to your project that you're already working on. And look at how adorable that is. You can still decorate the back. And then here, now you have little pockets where you can add your secrets and your notes. So one thing I messed up on is next time I would have stamped on the inside instead of the outside, because the outsides are glued and you can't really see them. As well as I didn't think through the notches, so you could just do the same notch all the way around because it didn't really matter. So that was a fail. But I'd never done this before, and so that was my first take on it. And then when you do yours, you can, you know, embellish it how you want, but those are just some little observations I made. I love the edges, and I love how those little hinges look. So adorable. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for all of your comments and your love. A huge, huge, huge thank you to my Patrons. I love you guys so much. And I'm so blessed to have you in my life. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you consider giving it a thumbs up, and that if you're not already following, what are you doing? Just pause and go hit the follow button, and make sure you click the bell so you get notified anytime a new video comes out. Another thing, make sure that you're looking at the playlist where I try to link the videos together. So if you're looking for Scrapbuster videos, there's a playlist for that, and there's a playlist for journals and etc. So anyways, if you have not been told today, I don't know why not, because you are beautiful. You are loved, you are talented, and you are worthy. And I don't want you to forget that. I love you. Until next time. Bye.